Thank you, Glenn. This is Inamul Haq, and probably I'm the first student, PhD student from Glenn. And when I saw Glenn, many of you have not seen him. He was very young, just came from Minnesota to after his PhD, and I was enrolled in the department. He was the first teaching, and I saw Glenn at a very early age, and I always remember he was very straightforward, always open, and he would either you appreciate, he would clearly say it, and I always appreciated that characteristics. He was very engaged in the class. Some of us I still remember it. I still remember the day when I remember I gave my thesis and he returned it with everything red. So I was very upset because I thought, yes, I know English, but it was not that bad. So he looked at me and he said, don't worry, go to this English writing center and get it corrected. But it was actually one of that quality that changed me. In fact, it has changed my life. It has changed the way I think. And I always remember, because even if though most of you have seen him as at a much older age when he was much more mature, but I think his the light was there when I was there as his student. So I still remember that day, and he was a fantastic man. So every time I went to Guelph, I went to see him because I remember that the contribution he made to my life. So I'm teaching in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I see Larry here, so thank you, Larry, again. Nice to see you again. The same time when and I see Professor Milky there, so quite a lot of people that time was professors. And I always say, Glenn, that I don't think I believe a professor can retire. So your thinking process will continue, and you continue to give the light to the world. And I think that is how I see a professor never finish prophecy. And I think once you have a prophecy, you are a really professor, and that's what I believe. Thank you, Glenn.
So Gato asked me if I would say a few words of wisdom, and I said that's maybe an excessively high bar, but I will say a few words. And I was thinking about, as I submitted my grades last week for the first year course that I've been teaching, I have been thinking about something that the students in that course said in our Zoom discussions over the semester. And many of you will know this, but for those that don't, I have been teaching a first-year course, FAIR 1040, Introduction to Environmental Economics, Law and Policy, for the last few years. And let me just put in a plug that I started my university teaching career at Western, teaching first-year Principles of Economics in 1979. And it was great to return to teaching first-year principles in the last few years. I am more convinced in my conviction that the most important thing that any academic unit does in our field is teach principles to first-year undergraduate students. I'm not sure that there's anything that we do that has greater potential for social good than that. And one of the things that struck me maybe in a new way in teaching the students this year was, as we would go through the sort of standard lessons learned about what happens when we apply price theory to real world situations, many students spontaneously said, "Professor, this is a way of thinking," and the title of the textbook is called The Economic Way of Thinking. And the students time after time after time would say, "Professor, I have never encountered this way of thinking before." And at the end of the semester, I said to them, "That's really remarkable that you would say that, because you have told me about your lives, and you have had rich experiences. You've had a very good secondary education, maybe an outstanding secondary education. You're a student at a fantastic university, so you're bright, you're accomplished, and you have been exposed to a lot of ways of thinking. But you have arrived here at this point in your life, and you're 17 of age, and you're telling me that you have not encountered in any of your life experiences up until now, the economic way of thinking. And I'm not too happy, I realized, with the university's slogan that it puts on the website, that we are in the business of improving life. I think that really undersells what we do. Walmart can say they're in the business of improving life. The Guelph General Hospital can say we're in the business of improving life. We're not in the business of improving life. We are in the business of producing knowledge and the pursuit of truth. And the unique contribution that we have as a disciplinary community is to introduce students and the community generally to the economic way of thinking. And I see Carl Mielke is here. Carl was one of my professors when I was a student. And he put it this way. He said, economists are the advocates of efficiency. No one else at the table will be the advocate of efficiency. And if we don't advocate it, then no one will. I just want to stretch that definition a little bit and say we are the advocates of the economic way of thinking. And if we don't present that distinctive perspective, not to say that's the only or the most important or the only valid way of thinking, but if we don't present the economic way of thinking in the various contexts in which we operate, then I think that we are letting down our discipline and letting down our community. So Gato mentioned, or maybe Andreas mentioned, that Debbie has been in the department for 50 years. I can't match that, but this September it will be 48 years since I arrived at the University of Guelph as an undergraduate student. And one of the things that has changed my life, one of the things that has made this such a great place to study and to work is that it has been an environment where I could come to understand the economic way of thinking and then explore the implications of that way of thinking in a variety of contexts to address a variety of problems, whether that took me to destinations that were happy or sad, popular or unpopular, controversial or conventional. This has been a great place to do that, and this has been a great community. And I look at the faces of all of you, and you have all played a significant role in making that community everything that it is today. So I want to thank you all.